Hi guys, Charlie with Boxing Focus. This is my second take after I technically somehow fucked up the last one. Right, Canelo versus Angulo, cracking fight. A lot of people are saying that it was fixed. We'll get to that later. Others are saying that fight's proof that the Mayweather fight was fixed. And we'll get to that later as well. I disagree with both assessments, but let's concentrate on the fight itself first. Absolutely superb display by Canelo. Very impressed with his defensive skills, especially his movement, his head movement. He barely took a clean shot. He really did. And the fact that Angulo found it so difficult to land meant he wasn't really throwing with conviction. So when he did land later in the fight, just went solid punches. Didn't have the kind of power behind them that you come to expect from Angulo. I did question a little bit in my prediction video how much of a beast Angulo was, and I think that kind of was borne out in the fight. Canelo's a strong lad, 154, and he hits hard and with variety. Body shots especially impressive. Angulo. I mean, the thing was though for Canelo, as good as he looked, he was faced with a fighter whose head movement was, he didn't have any. His foot movement was kind of plodding, 1 foot at a time, forwards. His lateral movement, didn't have any. His upper body movement, didn't have any. Well, it's kind of like tensing, if you count that as a movement. And so you got a stationary target in front of you in a boxing ring. You're just gonna throw hard shots. You don't have to worry about not throwing hard because you're not that likely to miss. So I think you have to bear that in mind when you think about Canelo's performance in this fight compared to fighting Floyd Mayweather. Angulo took a lot of punishment. So what was the stoppage? Fair. It was a little bit, slightly poorly timed in that you could argue Angulo wasn't badly hurt when it landed, although his head really lifted up, rolled back quite a distance. The thing was, in the 8th round, Angulo had been slightly competitive in that he'd thrown a lot of shots. It was a beautiful 8th round for Canelo. Defensively, there's about a 20 punch combination where he makes Angulo miss practically every shot, right in the pocket. Very, very impressive, but at least Angulo had a bit of offense going in that, even if he wasn't really finding a home for it. And that tapered off again in the 9th, and Canelo went from a good work rate throwing combinations to absolutely teeing off. I mean, he was starting to really load up, and he just couldn't miss. He could not miss. Angulo had taken a lot of punishment, and then you heard this spoken in between rounds. Virgil Hunter saying, "Oh yeah, I'll stop it. It's 2-3. Wave the towel. 2 or 3 punch combination." I mean, why does it need to be a combination? If he's loading up and eating practically every hard shot thrown, why wait for a combination? I mean, the guy's not defending himself. Defending yourself is not stood there like this. That's not defending yourself. Defending yourself is having a good offense and moving. Not just standing there and hoping that you don't get knocked out by the next punch that comes. So I didn't have a problem with the stoppage. I just thought maybe Tony Wilkes could have made it easier on himself by being more vocal to the fighter. He could have just said, you've got to stop taking these shots. Like in between action or in front of the camera in between rounds. Just somehow vocalised it so the fans knew that it was coming, and so the fans knew Angulo knew it was coming, which I'm not even certain Angulo did. I mean, Angulo probably didn't know where he was anyway, but beside the point. I kind of agreed with pulling Malignaggi on the stoppage. Just a natural consequence of a guy getting punched really hard in the head, an awful lot, pretty much non-stop for 10 rounds, it wasn't just that. It was the fact that he offered so little offensively himself. I mean, Canelo looked fresh. He didn't look like he was slowing down. He was really starting to load up on the shots. He was really starting to look flashy. And at what point do you say, all right, okay, now we stop the fight? What, you have to wait for him to be really badly hurt and knocked out? You've got to wait for him to suffer from brain damage, like the that heavyweight who's been in a coma recently. I mean, Angulo wasn't offering enough, frankly, to merit continuing the fight. The fight looked like it was over. And then Angulo was like, oh yeah, I was saving it for a strong 11th and 12th round. I mean, it's just nonsense. It's an absolute nonsense. I mean, it bears comparison perhaps with the Martinez-Chavez fight, but there always seemed like there was always an element of danger. I mean, Chavez had landed with a couple of good shots. He was still throwing what looked like hard shots. Martinez was moving an awful lot to stay away from him. It wasn't, whilst he was landing a lot on Chavez, it wasn't having the same sapping effect that it seemed to be having on Angulo. Chavez was perhaps easy to hit, but they weren't really clean. His head wasn't dancing around like Angulo's was. That was a painful night for Alfredo Angulo, and I think people giving the ref a hard time I don't know, perhaps they're biased by their bets not being accurate. But anyway, so was it fixed? Come on, man. You're going to suffer brain damage for that. Like 10 rounds of having really heavy thumping shots right in your face. Massive swelling on both eyes. I mean, he was starting to look pretty grotesque. If you think that's fixed, you're an absolute lunatic. I'm sorry. If that was fixed, why doesn't the referee stop it when Canelo lands that? I think it was the 4th round, with that eye-popping combination where you see Angulo's head go all over the place and his eyes go into the back of his head. If it's fixed on Angulo's behalf, why does he suffer so much? Why doesn't he go down at some point? Because he took the shots required to go down. He could have gone down on any one of those body shots, and you saw some of them really hurt him. It's just an absolute nonsense that fight's fixed. It just is not. And if you think it is, you just need to let it go, because something is clouding your judgment. So people are saying, oh look, and I, on the night of the fight, I thought this too, that if Canelo's fighting like that, what was he doing in the Mayweather fight? Where was that fire in the Mayweather fight? I mean, the reality is, especially to those who say the fight was fixed, Mayweather's not Alfredo Angulo. He doesn't stand there. He moves. He has good defense. He has excellent judgment of distance. He is very hard to hit clean. Canelo could not just tee off. You can't say Canelo's not going to give up an unbeaten record just for a bit of cash. Come on, he's earning millions anyway from fights. I mean, I do think that Canelo was a bit green going into the Mayweather fight, and he seemed a bit clueless when he couldn't get his shots off like he's used to. Like he has done against everybody else in his career. He's one of these fighters. He's like, yeah, I can outbox everybody. So why is Floyd Mayweather any different? It's just fucking brain dead. But that's the reality of how naive people can be. And they've gone into that fight with that plan that they will be as good a boxer as Floyd Mayweather, and it's not worked out. That they might catch him and it would hurt him because of the size difference, and then pounce on him. And it's just not worked out, and it was a stupid ass plan. But people are capable of being stupid, and you have to look at Canelo's corner. They weren't giving him the right advice in between rounds. They were saying, "Oh yeah, we've got to win rounds now." Just bad advice, bad corner work, bad plan, not the right attitude. Didn't leave it all in the ring, and that's why he lost a gifted boxer in Floyd Mayweather, who used his extremely good technical skills to make Canelo look a little bit slow and clueless. So no, that fight wasn't fixed. No, the Angulo fight wasn't fixed. This is Charlie with Boxing Focus. This isn't fixed. This was live. Adios.